Hello ladies and gentlemen, the Gamer from the Grave here, and welcome to Total War 3 Kingdoms. Now, this is a game I've wanted to play on my channel for a while now, and I finally get to, and I'm super excited, because if you don't know, I love the Total War games, because I'm a big fan of strategy games, and a lot of the Total War games are just excellent. And this is probably one of, if not my favourite out of all of them, because not only is it based on history, instead of something like Warhammer and stuff, which is its own fantasy world. It's based on something that did happen and has historical characters in it, but also I just think generally the world, the combat, and just everything about it is excellent, and I do truly enjoy it. So today we're going to be setting a new campaign and everything. So yeah. And I do have most of the stuff. I don't have the Fates Divided DLC or the Furious Wild DLC. The Furious Wild gives you the tribes down here, in the bottom corner, and then there's also the Fates Divided DLC,
In the years since the tyrant's
which
demise, Cao Cao has
yep,
wisely moved from strength to strength. With the
yep,
Emperor
okay,
now in his custody, all of China would seem to be laid before him, ripe for the taking.
okay, yeah. Anyway, obviously, Fates Divided. This starts pretty late in the game, and the reason I don't like playing this campaign, well, I mean, I don't have it, so I can't play it, but the reason that I'm not interested in getting it, at least not at the moment, is just partly because of the lack of characters, because it sort of, this takes place pretty late in the Three Kingdoms era. So as you can see, Cao Cao has the most territory, followed by like Liu Biao, and then Sun Tzu. It's honestly sort of unbalanced, because you start, like, you get a lot of territory and army starting off and everything. Also, I don't know. I prefer the 190 start, which is the original start when the game was first released, the only one there was. The Rise of the Warlords
Cao
era.
Cao
Oh,
watches
shut
dynasties
up!
fall and tyrants
So annoying.
rise. He has seen power slip into the hands of the undeserving. And through the chaos, plots a path back to order by his hand.
Yeah, anyway. I prefer this start date because everyone starts out pretty equally, apart from Dong Zhuo. He obviously starts with more territory, but he also starts off being enemies with almost everyone. And he doesn't really have any friends apart from Tong up here. And the other thing about this start date as well is this is the actual beginning of the fall of the Han Dynasty, the Three Kingdoms era, so to speak, the war, because obviously you have the Mandate of Heaven start date, and that's basically the rise of the Yellow Turbans. And now I do love that campaign as well, getting to play as the Zhang brothers and starting the Yellow Turban uprising. But the only problem I find with that is how easy it is to win as one of the warlords, because if you start as Liu Bie in the Mandate of Heaven DLC, for example, if you play it right, you can decimate the Yellow Turbans very early on, because you start almost next to them. And I've actually found that playing as the Yellow Turbans, it's pretty easy as well. But yeah, this is my favourite start date and the one I use the most. Now, I want to say before we start that I'm running a couple of mods. Now, these mods don't make the game any easier. If anything, they make the game harder, actually. But I have the Make Them Unique mods, as well as an add-on for that, which increases the level cap to 30 instead of, I think it was like 10, I think the original was. I'm not entirely sure, but I believe it was. It raises it to 30 and adds a few extra things in as well. I've got another mod that resets the skills, because the only problem I had was you recruit a character, a general, and they'd have their skill tree set up completely wrong, and then getting it where you want it would take forever and be almost impossible, especially at higher levels. So I have the reset skills mod, so basically every time you get a new commander, and the commanders you start off with will all have all of their skills reset, so you can choose them however you want, so you can set them out perfectly. I also have the We Are Different Generals mods, which basically just makes all of the, because a lot of the generals are generic. There's Cao Ren, Cao Song, Dong Min, and many other characters who are children, cousins, brothers of these main generals, who don't have a unique character model in the base game, and this just gives them unique skins, as well as the Make Them Unique mod, which makes significant characters in this piece of Chinese history more significant, because let's say Cao Cao's wife, for example, she doesn't have a unique character model in the base game, whereas she does now, and she also has some other unique stuff as well. Along with a lot of the other characters, they've been given like unique weapons and just made better, for example, and made them a more important character because they were in Chinese history. And I also have the Radius Total War put in, which basically changes and balances a few of the buildings, actually makes some of them a little more powerful, and it's also nerfed a few of them, as well as adding in some new units to all of the different factions and giving them new looks and everything, which you'll see when we start playing, along with a couple of other things. So those are the mods that I'm currently running, just to make the game a little more unique and exciting, rather than playing the complete base game, which I don't want to say is boring, because it isn't, but the problem I always had was that how so many of the, like, even the unique generals just had a generic skin, and they weren't really anything significant, and that kind of annoyed me, because it sort of plays down their part in history, whereas they now have a much better position now. And some of the things changed from when this game was first released to now, like how some of your court is set up, as well as the leveling up system, because you start as a noble, then you go to second marquis, duke, king, and then emperor. Now it used to be at second marquis you can make a coalition, which is still what it is, and then at marquis you can start vassalizing people. Now I do believe you can only start vassalizing at duke now, so you've got to wait until later on to do that, and also you choose what extra things you get at every level up, but also they've added in a few extra things, like the Imperial Favor, which was added in, which basically means that when the Emperor comes of age, every faction has favor with him, and you can use this to get things and get help from the Emperor, or in turn make people less popular with him. Now, this is kind of annoying personally, because whenever you attack a Han faction, now that's almost any of these apart from the bandits and the yellow turbans, the tribes, I believe, are the only ones that don't come under that. So if you attack any of the other factions and the Han Empire faction, you'll lose favor with the Emperor. Now the problem I have with this is that to expand, you will have to fight them. Now you can get it back, of course, by doing missions for the Emperor, and also by just raising it, like you can do every couple of turns on the menu as well. But basically, yeah, it's sort of annoying, because it makes it sort of difficult to expand, because if you just go on an all-out conquest, you'll almost certainly lose lots of favour with him, and that will turn lots of other people against you. Because whoever controls the Emperor can make a decree where basically your relations with every other faction will drop significantly, and you'll have like a target painted on your back, basically, which I don't want. So that makes it a little difficult, but I've never had too much of a problem with that. But yeah, anyway, in terms of who we're playing, there are quite a few good ones. I like to play as Sun Jin, Cao Cao, Gong Sun San. Sometimes I like to play as Zhang Yan or Zheng Zhang. She's probably one of the only characters who's completely fictional. All of these others are historic, I believe, as well as these. I'm not entirely sure about the southern tribes, but I know the rest of these generals are historic. She's the only made-up one. Yeah, So in terms of who we're playing, it's I'm going to play Kong Rong,
The mightiest tree
the Master
survives on its
Scholar. Oh
roots.
my god, this is kind
The
of annoying.
bureaucracy of China can only succeed through the support of education.
Yep.
This is what Kong Rong earnestly believes.
Okay, excellent. Anyway, yeah, he's one of my favourite generals in the game overall, and also I like playing him as a faction because even though he has a hard starting situation, I have found a good way to play it that makes it a lot easier. You see, obviously he's a strategist. He has understanding, which gives him extra gives him extra cunning and resolve, as well as making him sort of a nice person. He has scholarly, which gives him expertise and cunning, but also gives him a 25% character experience. Sorry, so he will level up a lot faster. Now, this is good because, first of all, as a strategist, you need him to be leveled up quite quickly in order to get siege weaponry and better range units. But also, he has a few other skills in his skill tree that are extremely important. I mean, as a strategist in general, not just as him being a faction leader, but anyway, yeah. And he also has Kai. Now, this gives satisfaction faction-wide with being the faction leader. And also gives public order to administrative commandery, but he's not going to be an administrator because he's a faction leader, so that doesn't really matter much. And obviously the resolve and authority aren't really important for him being a strategist. But yes, he also has a 5k population growth bonus, minus 8% recruitment cost for crossbow units, which is extremely helpful, as well as plus 50% trade influence. Now the thing with trade influence is the higher it is compared to the person you're trading with, the better deal you'll get when making a trade agreement. Now also, importantly, his faction has a unique currency, basically a skill, which is the trade monopoly. Now basically, instead of making trade agreements, you want to make trade monopolies, and this increases your trade influence, which basically means that it'll get higher, and as it gets higher, you'll earn more money from trade monopolies and trade agreements, which basically means that you'll get more money out of the deal, which is always great. And he also has some unique units, the Fury of Beihai, which are pretty good in my opinion, and then the Thunder of Zhang'an, which are basically better versions of the Fury of Beihai, but for their price, I don't really think they're worth it, honestly, because they're not that much better than the Fury of Beihai, and they cost quite a bit more money, so not entirely sure they're really worth it, and you only get them at rank 6 anyway, by which time your Fury of Beihai will probably be rank 7 or 8 or something anyway, so they're better anyway. He has the Academies of Culture Learning Building instead, which gives you population growth, better income, and better public order. And he also has a assignment which increases commerce. And he's a governor, which basically what this means is he can't declare himself emperor. He can only become emperor by capturing the seat of an already existing emperor. Now what this means when you get to king rank, 3 other faction leaders in the game, it can change, but it will generally be Cao Cao, Liu Bei, and Sun Xin, I believe. Now this will change depending on whether their factions are destroyed or not, because if they are, then they won't be. But they get a bonus in whether or not they are picked to become emperor. Although what happens generally for me is actually Shishi down here ends up declaring himself emperor, which is weird because he's also a governor, but whatever. Because generally either Liu Bei becomes like a vassal of mine, or like Cao Cao or Sun Xin gets destroyed. But yeah, anyway, I've blabbered on for quite a while, so let's get started. But basically, yeah, this is my... Oh, by the way, I just wanted to say I'm playing on easy because I'm completely useless, and if I played on a harder difficulty, I'd almost certainly lose. And we're going on romance mode, because records mode basically means that generals have a unit, an entourage, instead of being single units, which I don't like because I like to go into duels and stuff. So, prefer that option.
Embers rise, stark against the night. The tyrant Dong Zhuo wields the flames of destruction. Luoyang burns. Chaos ignites as the power of the eunuchs is crushed. In the pyre, the Han falters. A generation's potential shatters. Knowledge, dies. Kong Rong feels drawn to action. He knows he must act. Wisdom will save China. But war must first restore it. China is in turmoil. The
Yeah, you
great
can see the
empire of the
radius
Han,
total more world appears here
stretching back
when you have it
ages
on,
beyond
which I think is pretty
counting,
cool actually.
is being devoured by corruption. The Yellow Turbans, thousands strong, began raising their banners in rebellion and seizing commanderies across the realm. In response, generals loyal to the Emperor rose up and put down the rebellion.
Oh, well, the story been loaded already. Why is it taking so long? It's kind of annoying. Okay.
Luo Yang is set ablaze by Dong Zhuo, my lord.
It is barbaric. What loss of life, of culture?
His iron grip is unshaken. He heads west with the Emperor.
A tyrant controls the Empire. These are dark tidings, yet there are still pressing affairs closer to home.
Yes, lord. The Yellow Turbans persist. Their greatest strength is in your lands.
We must rebuild. Schools, learning. It is wisdom that will see us through this crisis.
And what of the coalition?
Cao Cao pulls their strings. That wretched snake. He has them fooled, but not me. I shall never trust him, and neither should they.
Your wisdom is well known, Kong Rong. If you apply your mind to our current woes, I'm sure all of China will listen.
Okay, now we get to our start. So yeah, we need to establish ourselves. So we have to deal with the Yellow Turbans and be wary of Yuan Shao. So our first mission is to defeat this army straight in front of us, of course. Every faction starts like this. They have a starting army that they have to defeat, which is always extremely weak, and then a starting settlement that they need to capture. It can vary. Sometimes it's a town, sometimes it's a farm or a mine or something. Yeah. Now, before we go and fight that army, I want to say my plan is, of course, to fight this and take this, but also I have a strategy because Liu Bei starts up here at the Dong mine. Now, what he will do on about his 4th or 5th turn is come down here and capture the Langye farm. Now, I don't want to do this because I want this, because over here is Tao Chim, and I want to trade with him as well as Liu Bei. So what I need to do very carefully is basically deal with this, capture that, because the rest of Langya stretches up here. So once I capture this, I can take that whenever I want. And then of course there is Lian over here. Now with this is a little more difficult because the trade port here is just Yellow Turban, which is basically a very weak, basic, generic faction. But over here is Huang Xiao, who's one of the people you can play as. Now he will probably have an army here, and on the second or third turn, he will come and try and take Beihai most likely. So what I need to do is have an army here to protect against it. And then once I defeat him, I can then take that, because it's very unlikely that Liu Bei will come and capture this. He'll probably go for the Dong city over here if I block off this. Now this doesn't always work, and on about the 4th or 5th turn we'll have a Yellow Turban Rebellion here at Beihai, which will be difficult to deal with, so we'll have to be wary of that as well. But basically this is my plan. Now I don't guarantee that this will go according to that plan, but my fingers are crossed. So first of all, actually what I want to do is, obviously we have the build menu here, which I think is excellent. So we have a town. Now this can be a small town, large town, and then it goes into cities. Now, so long as it's a town, it will not require any food, but once you start making cities, it will require food, which is up here. Now, of course, I'm getting food from my land registry office here, and I'll get more when I capture this farm as well. So what we're going to build first is the government support building, because this gives us extra food production and extra peasantry, which is what you earn from these buildings. So we'll get that building on our first turn, because we won't be able to do anything else. And then we start with our army, and his starting army is pretty good actually, because you have a full army and it's set out correctly. Now what I like to do, and what I would suggest usually, is to have a strategist, a infantry general, which will either be a sentinel or a champion, and then a cavalry general, which is either the commanders or the vanguards. And then of course you have the strategists, who you should always have one of. Because if you come to the skill tree here, they have this skill, the resourcefulness, which gives them flaming shots and extra military supplies. They're also both very good, especially when you get siege weapons. And then you want to come and get composure, because this gives you fire arrows for your archers, which is great, and also knights battles. Now this is very good when you're attacking. So we want to get that, I'll explain why later. And then also you have precision in between. This will pretty much always be the set out for a strategist, unless they are a bandit or a Yellow Turban. Their trees are different, but this is, for most of them, it'll be like this. So you can almost always come across here. Sometimes they start at this end, or sometimes they start down here. If they do, then just go whichever way is quickest, but these are probably the three I'd suggest, because the precision gives you extra ranged armor piercing damage and firing rate, which is both great. So these are the three I'd suggest you get first. Judgment is good as well for its range damage, and also its trade agreements, obviously with him being the faction leader, so this is also good, but this is sort of a secondary one. And then scholarship down here is also good. Extra experience, and then extra commerce, silk and spice income from commanderies, the administrative commandery, but of course he's not going to be an administrator, so that doesn't matter. So we go for resourcefulness and then precision straight away, which is great. I can't remember which way he goes actually. When he starts off, I can't remember. I think it's this, but I'm not entirely sure. That's why I like to have the reset skills mod on. So we have that, and you can also see his cunning's very high. So we get 50% ammo, as well as some formations, an ability, some extra supplies, and a couple of other things, as well as resilience. Now, most important, you see the gold here makes him a legendary character. Now this means that he has extra plus points. You see he has 30 expertise, 20 cunning, and 10 authority. Those will vary depending on how good of a character. If they're a base character, they only have like 15, I think, or 20 they get. which is obviously pretty bad. So obviously the better a character you have, the more bonuses they'll get. And they also have resilience and a couple of other good things. You got the recruitment for crossbow units and trade influence there, of course, which is obviously great.
Nature's splendor is revealed to us once
now,
more.
yes, now the thing is all of these, the higher they are, the better is it. And also he has resilience because some characters will have resilience, which is this heart with the plus next to it. This means if they're injured in battle, they won't immediately die. They'll just be injured. They can die if they constantly get defeated in battle when their resilience is down, but they're pretty basically safe if they have this. They can still get wounded and get negative traits and stuff, but they'll not die immediately. If they don't have this, this means that if they're defeated in battle, like in a duel or whatever, they will almost certainly die. Now, of course, that's not great, but it's something you have to deal with. Anyway, let's look at our ancillaries now. Now, these are supplies. You'll always get some at the beginning, but they'll completely vary every time. So we have a cryptographer who's okay, I guess, but I'm not really interested in the spies necessarily. And then a master's leather. Now, this is kind of good.
It is joyous to see the land filled with life.
Yeah, but the only problem I have with it is the bonus. The negatives kind of outweigh the bonuses. But yeah, anyway.
No.
We'll get rid of them, and then we'll go to the stealth battle. Now, I'm going to fight this. I could delegate it, obviously we'll definitely win, because it's pretty much impossible to lose. But I'm just going to fight it so we get the least amount of losses possible, and just so I can show you the fighting mechanisms if you don't know already. Now, I'm not that good at this stuff, honestly. I'm going to be completely honest, that's why I'm playing on easy. I am by no means, like, a professional.
Not all
I'm not good at
buds
this.
become mighty oaks.
Even easy to win battles, I have taken significant losses just because I'm that inept, but I am better than a computer. So if it says valiant defeat, you don't have a guaranteed win, you can almost certainly win the battle if you do it manually. Because I don't know, because of course you don't see it, but I believe the AI strategy is to just throw your forces at the enemy and try and overwhelm them. So of course if they have more numbers than you, you'll almost certainly lose, unless your soldiers are very good. Yes, from what I'm aware, that's how the AI works, because otherwise you could easily win a battle with just your generals sometimes. I have seen it and I have done it. It's just using your generals to take out the enemy generals and then constantly just pick off the enemy units. You don't need, like, the rest of your army. Especially like these beginning ones. Like, I could easily win this battle with just my 3 generals, but I don't really want them to lose too much health, so I'll try and avoid that where possible. But yeah, it's honestly sort of too easy, but that's why this is like the starting army. It's just so you can get to grips with the combat, really, and how the game works. They're not really supposed to be a threat. Like, if you somehow lost this battle, which I think you just have to, you know, concede defeat, like just admit you lost, even if you could easily win, because I don't think realistically you could possibly lose this. I think even if you just did it in one unit at a time, they would still be able to overwhelm the enemy just like that. You'd take heavy losses maybe, but you would still win. So I have no idea like how you could possibly lose this battle, but I don't plan on it, of course, because I'm not stupid. I don't know how this campaign will go. I should be able to win. I have won several times before, but it may very well take a while because it just works out like that sometimes. I will start delegating more and more of the battles as we get later down the line, when it becomes quite easy to win. But for any of the battles that I know I can win, even if the computer says I'll lose, and for some of the ones that they predict heavy losses, I will fight myself, because I don't want to lose too many units, because if I lose like an entire army almost, then all it takes is another enemy army to pop up and I'll be annihilated. I want to try and keep my losses to a minimum, but I'm not going to fight every battle because that would take too long and be kind of boring as well to see the same thing over and over again. Okay. Now, like I said, I like the way the combat works in this, and the way it's set up. So this is our army. be some G militia as well as some Saber militia and then a mounted Saber cavalry unit. So what I'm going to do is select my generals and my cavalry, make them 1, and I'll just move them, whoops, over here, and then I'll make these guys unit 2, and then I'll spread them out like this. Now, I can almost guarantee that the enemies won't just charge straight ahead. They never usually do, because why would they? They'd obviously die. But yeah, we start the battle and we immediately head over here with these units. What I want to do is engage in a duel with their general. So send him ahead, speed it up a little just so it goes quicker. I'm going to leave those there for the moment. Seems like they have come forward after all. That's interesting. So the duel starts and you see them charge towards each other, and no enemy units will, or friendly units will get involved in this duel because it's like an honourable duel. So obviously it's just these two. And you can watch it up close, which is pretty cool. And he has an ability, Hamstring, which reduces his speed, increases his cooldown, and does a bunch of splash damage. I think is always cool. So do that, yep. Move these guys over here. So I want to try and draw these infantry towards my main army.
The time has come.
Now he should almost certainly be able to win this duel, even though he seems to be losing more health, which is kind of annoying.
Is over, scum.
But he should hopefully win.
Your words are as pathetic as you are.
What I actually want to do is send Komorong. I'll just speed it up just to get him over there. It's not going to change anything.
Take heed, warrior.
I'll just make those 3 now so that they kept separated and send them over this way.
The time has come. I will cut out your heart. You continue to talk, yet I hear nothing but empty noise.
Yeah, so now Komorong's abilities will increase the cooldown of the enemy's abilities and reduce the cooldown of my ability, so I can use my Hamstring ability again. And his abilities will constantly just be, you know, knocked down. So I should have a better chance now, hopefully. Yeah, so, and also, the interesting thing with cavalry is that if you hit them from behind where they're not blocking, they'll do even more damage, so this is obviously a good angle.
I hope they remember your deeds.
Watch them as they charge in
You belittle
and
yourself
decimate the enemy units. It's always fun to watch.
Ready.
Still losing. Okay, use the ability again. I'll focus on this duel now, because I really don't want him to lose.
What cowards!
Okay, just pause that for 1 second and come over here. Now, cavalry go after that unit, and then infantry swarm those units, because I want to kill all of them if possible. We're gonna go back to our duel.
The time has come! Double time!
I don't know if he's gonna win actually, that's unfortunate.
Our general is losing. He should retreat.
4.8 versus 9.4.
Go for the legs.
looking good. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have him withdraw.
Craven dogs! Damn you! Get back here and fight!
That seems inadvisable, so I will decline.
And now just running away on foot, which isn't gonna work, of course. Help Kong Rong chase him down. Completely swarm the enemies, so they're done. So we can just watch this guy get hunted down. He tries to run around Fox. He tried to get on his horse, but I interrupted him by attacking. So,
We've killed
and
an
there he
enemy
goes.
general!
Yep. Look at them swarm around like flies, trying to get them all. Because there's so many units that they can't actually reach them. Come on, come on, come on. This one guy's probably gonna make it. Oh, not there he goes. It's the last guy. And down he goes. Which just leaves these guys. What? Let me select them. There you go. There's only 3, 2, 1. They're gone. There we go. Don't imagine I lost too many units there. Probably lost some in the little scuffle, but other than that. Yeah, I lost 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I lost 35 units. It's not too bad, I suppose. Probably could have played that a little better, but still. I will take that. Kind of annoying that he lost that duel, but whatever. And then we can go and take the farm, which I think I will delegate, because I honestly don't want to have to bother with the towers and that there. I was never very good at taking settlements and stuff. Come on, load already. 8 minutes 3 seconds that battle took. Huh. I'm so annoyed about that duel. It just probably would have done better if I'd sent Kong Rong over there to support him immediately, and give him that boost straight away, because then it would have probably stopped Wang Zhao's ability, or delayed it at least, and it would have meant I could have used my hamstring attack more times. And I killed everyone, so I won't get any reinforcements from this battle, because, you know, there's no one to capture. But that's fine, I only took 35 losses anyway, so it's not a huge deal. I'd rather have the money. Because I believe you get more money if you kill more units. So you should try to, like, if you have cavalry units, send them to just try and clear up as many of the escaping infantry as possible. You'll probably not catch enemy cavalry units, and not necessarily generals either, unless they're on foot or you're next to them. So don't bother going after them, just try and get the infantry, because those are usually the largest units anyway. And I only try to engage in duels if I'm confident I can win, which is kind of annoying with that one, but you know, whatever. Because the thing is losing them damages your morale and stuff, and especially if your general gets completely defeated. If they run away, you know, nothing really happens. But
Justice cannot be denied.
I do get some replenishment, but I'll take the money.
They fought
How did I
only
capture
for their
55
beliefs.
enemy units? There were none alive, but whatever. Yeah, now I have to capture the settlement.
Destroy corruption. Attack!
Now, of course, if I did the night battle, the enemy can't receive reinforcements, their spotting distance is diminished, and they lose some morale for their troops. I don't have that yet, but it doesn't matter, so delegate and take it easily. Yeah, we lost 176, I could have probably dropped that myself if I'd fought it, but I'll make most of that back anyway, and it's a lot quicker, so done that, get a bunch of experience and everything. We've completed the commandery and completed those missions we got, and now we have a mission to construct a building, which is what we're already doing, so it doesn't matter. Level
My
up
lord,
here.
tell me your wish and I shall strive to fulfill it.
Now, I'll take this one first. I wish we had some weapons or some armor, but we don't have anything, which is unfortunate. I can actually put him on Kongrong. Like I said, I don't care about the enemy spies, but now we get our composure, which is excellent. So now we can fight night battles. Let's see. Yeah, so what I want to do now actually is go up to diplomacy. Now this is basically you trading with the people you know. So like I said, Tao Chin's right there, so if I take the farm here, then obviously we can trade with him. We haven't found Liu Bei yet, because he's not actually like on the map.
Let us talk strategy.
Because he just starts with an army, he doesn't have a settlement, he has to capture the mine here, which is unfortunate, but he has the most powerful starting army in the game, so you can almost certainly get like take that army and capture any settlement you want, so it's not a huge deal. I want that bow actually, so I'll give you the Iron Pig. That doesn't work in my favour actually, which is unfortunate because he really likes those ancillaries. I suppose I could also give you this Stone Monkey. I don't really need that. Actually, no, we've only got 4 on the table, so no. Food's not going to do much now, you've got plenty already. But you're poor, so money will be of value. But that's going to cost everything I have, well, a lot of money to do this, I think. Let's see, which one's this? That's the bow. Actually, if I drop the bow, yeah, that's less, and I should be able to put on that Stone Monkey now. Yeah, which means I can drop the amount of money I'm giving you. Work our way up from here, yeah, okay. That'll do, I think. I can survive losing that money. I want the ancillary and also get a non-aggression pack with him, because I'm increasing basically our attitude. So at everything you do, well, most things you'll do anyway, will have a effect on this. So we've got it up to +5, and then we've got a positive +20 because of the signing treaties and doing trade with him. So this means that pretty soon that'll become liked, which is green. It's on neutral at the moment, and obviously red means negative, and then it can go down to like very unfriendly and stuff, and that'll annoy them. But we don't care about them because they're yellow turbans anyway. Because what I will do is increase my attitude with him enough that he likes me and I can trade with him when I get the chance. But also, because the problem is after I end my turn, Liu Bei will capture this. He will then border with Tao Qin there, and there's about a 50-50 chance of them trading together. And they both only have one trade slot, so if they do that, you won't be able to trade with either of them, and you'll be out a trading partner, which is very annoying. So I want to do it so that I can do that. Yeah, you can trade with the Han Empire, but I don't want to because I'm going to go to war with them eventually. So, you know, don't want to do that. And you can see how the trade monopoly trade are two different things. Oh yeah, I forgot. I've also got a mod on which adds new flags for all of the factions because they all used to just have basically you know Japanese symbols on them, but now they have like a unique design for all of the different ones. You got Tao Qian's one there, Huangshou, the Han Empire one, and the Yellow Turban one, and then Dongzhuo's. They're all completely unique for pretty much all of the factions in the game, which I really like because it's only aesthetic, but I think it's pretty cool, and they're in battle as well. That they change, not just like on these menus here. And then we have our court. Now these are all of the people, all the generals we have with us. We have Shi Yi here and Su Shao. Then we can appoint a chancellor, but we're not going to do that at the moment because it's going to cost us money to pay them for that position. We're not going to earn anything back. So right now we're just going to end our turn. Yeah, look, he captures the mine there, and then hopefully he's not traded with Tao Qian. But I get the feeling he probably has, because why wouldn't they do that and screw me over? Like I said, look, Langyar here, the farm, we want to capture that, because otherwise he'll come down and capture it. He doesn't do it straight away, for some reason, or at least not that I've seen. It usually takes him 3-4 turns, which gives me enough time to capture it, but you've got to still move quickly, and like I said, you also want to have an army here to protect against Huangshao and the rebellion that starts. Yeah, so we get that, which gives us more bonus stuff here. And you can see all of these things we have up here. So our economy grows for the next 3 turns, construction cost of time is down, next 2 turns, public order and faction support, and then for the next 2 turns, bonus supplies and morale. Which are all good things. So yeah, let's upgrade the farm. That gives us extra prestige, extra food, and extra income, which is all good. And then move the army just to the board here.
Do not break.
If I cross this, I won't be able to recruit any units, and also I'll be trespassing, which is not a negative thing. But yeah, so let's see. I want to send. So yeah, I want to
me
send.
a kindness in calling, my lord.
Zheng Zheng, and because these the Wangzhou and Zhengyan don't like each other. Not entirely sure why. It's probably a historical thing, maybe. I don't know that much about Chinese history, honestly. But yeah. So anyway, now what we can do is recruit some units. What I want to do is get a trebuchet. Now these 3 here are your basically are your siege weaponry. You have the crossbow, the juggernaut, and the trebuchet. Now I personally like the trebuchet the most. I mean, it's up to you which one you get, but I like the trebuchet the most. It costs the most in upkeep, but it's only 5 more, and it costs less to buy than the juggernauts anyway, so that's fine. And then we also have access to the Fury of Beihai. Now you can see that all these units going from bad to not so bad, they have obviously what they cost to recruit and then the upkeep per term. Now of course there's effects up here, your treasury, so you have obviously what you're spending on your army salaries and building upkeep and everything, and then you also have what you're earning, and then it gives you either a positive or a negative, which is what you're getting per turn, and then you also have what you have right now to spend. Now obviously you want to keep this in the positive, it can go negative, and that just means you have no money, morale will drop, you're not able to buy anything, and yeah, you just don't want that. So the thing is getting this Fury of Beihai at the moment, is it worth it? I'm not entirely sure, they cost a pretty penny and upkeep per turn, so I think I will get the regular crossbowmen. And I'll swap these guys out for them. The thing I hate is that the strategists will spawn with like 2 infantry units in their army, because I don't want them. What I'm doing is I'm spending all of my money on military units. Now this is of course pretty dangerous, but you know, it's sort of just it's okay for now, because once we take the settlements we'll start earning more money anyway. And yes, I want to get Sun Shao.
Unify in
Now
one
I'm
direction.
hoping, yeah, that's unfortunate, but I can get one of these other ones next turn as well instead, which is alright. Now, fingers crossed.
Sit,
Yes,
so
he's
we
not
may
done it.
talk.
Good. Now, Tao Qin's probably going to trade with the Han Empire, so I'll probably not be able to get the trade monopoly with him straight away, but that's fine. I just wanted the one with Liu Bei. The thing with Liu Bei is he's a very, basically he's a yes man. He will say yes to everything, basically. He'll almost never turn down a deal unless it's very not in his favour. He'll always agree with you, basically, that's nice. I'll offer him some food, he doesn't have any, so that wants more, and in return he'll pay me some money, which is good. Now, I always go for the regular payments per turn rather than just the straight up front payment, because it'll usually work out to be more, and my money per turn, I think, is more important. Let's see if that's too much. Yes, it is. That's still too much. Nope. Whoops. It's all about finding that perfect balance. That'll do me, yeah. And
We
now
are
we're good
in
friends
agreement.
straight away. Look, he's just a yes man. He's really happy all the time. So we'll see
Welcome.
whether I can get that
Come
with
in.
him later. But yeah, actually, will I be able to put?
Welcome, friend.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that now actually, because he'll just come through my territory and start taking stuff. I don't want that. So yeah, like look, this is his army. 3 of the most powerful generals at the beginning of the game, along with some relatively decent units. This isn't a great army. Like, I'm not saying this is an OP army, but it's better than what most people start with, especially in terms of generals. He has Guan Yu, the god of war. He has Zhang Fei, who's a drunken brawler, but he's actually got a cool weapon and he's pretty good. You can see his instinct's really high. And then Liu Bei himself, the virtuous idealist. And he has a bunch of stuff, so he's got a pretty good start as well as his resolve on authority being pretty high. Okay, let's end turn again and see what happens now. He's still staying there, which is good. Like I said, he'll eventually set off down here, but not immediately. And I don't know whether it's set for him to come down here straight away, or whether he sometimes goes over there, because he always comes down here on my game. Yep, there's Huang. Yep, that's unfortunate. What do I do? Well, I'm gonna lose it either way, so there's no point fighting it, really, I think. It came earlier than expected, actually, which is unfortunate. So he's captured my capital and taken the town. That's great. He's gonna turn that all into yellow turban stuff as well. Okay. Yes, I know, sad times.
Persevere.
Now, obviously he's not strong enough to take that. But
Bend, do not break.
yes, recruit
May
him
wisdom flow.
into the army. Yeah, we've got negative food now, which is just great. Yes, I know, shut up. And all these people have armies, so I can't. That's annoying. Yes, I need a cavalry general. Young Biao. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'll
Reject
send
corruption.
Kong Rong up to capture that because I need to have that
For
back.
the
I can't
people!
let him keep it.
Crush them!
Oh, they willingly surrendered. That's good.
We will bring righteousness to this settlement.
And hopefully he doesn't head down for that this
The
turn.
mightiest tree survives
Yeah, like he
on
just
its
converts
roots.
everything, which I hate. But it'll do for now, I suppose.
A land
So,
without
yeah,
people
I'm
is
gonna end it
bereft of
here,
spirit.
actually. It's a pretty good stopping point, I suppose, and it's been nearly an hour anyway, so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and look out for more Total War 3 Kingdom stuff in the near future, as that's probably what I'll be doing most of this week. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. So thank you so much, and goodbye.